How are you? Hope you're well. Welcome to 10 at 3. It's 10 at 3 time in Tennessee. Wes Rucker coming to you here from 10 News Studio here, 10 News Streaming Center here on a Friday afternoon in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's been a rainy day. Was it raining? I think I got in here before some of y'all did today. Is it raining now? Or
Yeah.
Did it pass over?
I mean, it's it's been like drizzling. It was pouring earlier, though.
Kind of a classic. If you would like just drop the temperature down like 20 degrees, it'd be kind of like a classic fall day, basically. It's just a little warmer than it normally is, but a classic kind of fall day. You know, you go out there and you got the leaves on your car and it's a little, gray and it looks like it's Ohio when you're out there, Because Ohio, the sun never shines, basically, for like 10 months a year.
Why do you say that?
Because the sun doesn't shine there for like 10 months a year. It's like England, except for it's not, near ocean.
You got beef with Ohio?
No, their weather, just like Kentucky, it's gray about 10 months out of the year. That's all. It's not a big deal.
Elijah
Nixon.
Okay.
Elijah
I
Nixon.
ask you,
who's
just
joining
ask
us
it,
today.
just ask it.
I'm going to introduce you now. Elijah, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Wes. How are you?
I'm doing great. Actually woke up feeling all right today. So, it was another late night watching the Tennessee basketball games. Actually covered the men and then kind of kept an eye on the women's game while both were going on at the same time there. Both of them just absolute blowout wins. It was 89-60 for the men over Tennessee State, 85-41 for the Lady Vols at MTSU, which Kim Caldwell said she thought would be a difficult game. It was not. I don't know that. I think MTSU scored no more than like 11 points in any of the quarters or 12 points. It was a rough night for the Blue Raiders at home. In their home, and I've covered actually a Tennessee women's game at Murphy Center before, and they've got a good fan base and they show out, and it's one of the few places in the state where Tennessee could go and actually get a little bit of a hostile crowd, and so that was interesting, but they handled it. They took care of business much more comfortably than they did last season when they played them in Knoxville. And for the men, despite no J.P. Estrella and no Bishop Boswell, they took care of business, 89-60 over Tennessee State. Really just the first 5 minutes, about as good as Tennessee's looked all year, basically. You had Amari Abraham out there hitting three threes early on, and, it's like 19-2 run, and the game's basically over before it starts. Then Okpara hits a three to make it 29-6, and you're like, well, it's just a matter of how bad this is going to be now.
If Okpara hit a three, that means the game is pretty much over.
60% three-point shooter in his career at Tennessee so far, 3 for 5. Not the largest sample size.
That's what I'm saying. So if he's shooting threes and he makes it, I'm not saying you can't shoot. But Okpara, you probably could fire it way better than I can. But when he hits a three, go ahead and just warm the bus.
Basically, yeah, it was Tennessee State was like it's like that Abe Simpson. He walks in, grabs the hat, walks out. That's kind of how it was for Tennessee State last night. And we got a couple extra special guests in here today. We got Shelby and Justin, who probably don't want to be on camera, but I will put them on there at some point.
Go.
I will put them back there. So there they are in the back. There they are in the back.
Here.
They're just valuable members of our digital team who are going to be in here helping the Lord of the Streams, Tom Barclay and Maddie. They're when they're on the ones and twos. So we're going to have basically the whole family's going to be able to come in here and run this at some point. That's going to be very, very nice. But a couple of absences for the women last night as well before we move on to football. Jersey Wolfenbarger was out, strep throat. Alyssa Latham was out with personal reasons. Don't know what those are, but they call them personal, right? That's her business. She was there. She just wasn't participating. So
at least she was there.
I don't know what the personal reasons are, but again, if they think or Kim Caldwell thinks they could be back in the next game or so, so that could be okay. Although strep throat, you never know. You don't want that to turn into like a bronchitis or pneumonia or anything. Right. You got to take care of that stuff. So hopefully you say strep throat and you're like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Some people it's a big deal. So hopefully for her it's not a big deal.
Any type of sickness is a big deal. I don't care what you're talking about. If you out there coughing on people, I get it. You spit, you sweat, all that stuff when you're playing basketball, football, soccer, whatever. But if you're getting people sick, come on, man.
Stop being nasty.
Think about me for
Basically,
a second.
just stop being nasty.
Michael Jordan playing with the quote-unquote flu, that's disgusting.
It is. Now, for the playoffs, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, for the playoffs.
I mean, it is. But years later, it turned out it wasn't a flu game. He had food poisoning.
Yeah. Well, but that's a stomach flu, right? Maybe something similar. I don't know. Basically, I know this. Physical pain I can handle for the most part all day long. I get sick, I'm a toddler. Seriously. Like, my wife knows this. When I get sick, I turn into a 3-year-old.
Really?
Yes. Now, I could, like, break a bone, anything physical. I'm fine there. Whatever. Just tape it up and go on. But sickness, no.
What is the Wes Rucker traits when he's sick?
Honestly, whining. like a child, sitting in bed, covered up, whining. Basically, yes.
You sit there all the time?
Basically, yes. If I'm sick, I will sit there in the bed for the entire day, and I will whine for a majority of it. I'm best left alone in those moments, to be honest. Just bring in some water and some tussin every couple hours, and other than that, just stay away. That's basically how to handle it. I don't do well with it. I just don't.
That sounds.
I wish that I did, but I don't. So,
sounds normal.
and remember, we got rules on this show. Tell the truth, right?
That's it. Tell the truth and nothing but the
That's
truth.
what like 11 says there in Stranger Things. Friends don't lie to each other. We don't lie to each other. I'm a baby when I'm sick. So hopefully she gets back soon. For the men with their injuries, we've talked about this a lot this week. Good news with JP Estrella. That looks like you say just a bone bruise. I think there's maybe a little bit more to it than just a regular bone bruise, but you could call it a bone bruise and not be wrong. So that's what we're going to call it. And so, because I'm not a doctor and I was told it's a bone bruise. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to say bone bruise. I can understand that. That's two simple enough words. Normally that's a couple weeks, depending on, it's a plus or minus there, 2 weeks about when someone comes back from that, depending on how comfortable they are. So we'll see. That would make it kind of not impossible, but maybe unlikely that he plays next week with those big games. But we'll see. We'll see. I
wouldn't. If I was them, I wouldn't rush it because I know it's a big tournament out there in Vegas, especially you see him going to Houston, a team that you've seen last year, then you beat to get to the next round of that tournament. I just think that
they want that Houston game.
You do, but it's like to me for Tennessee, I just personally think that because. You don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to get hurt because you're going to see this team
not
again.
This time of year. No.
Yeah, you're going to see them again in March. You're going to see them again in February. So, I think at the time you just want to make sure that he's good to go.
It is now, and for sure. Now you're balancing a couple things there. One, you're balancing. Yes, you need to be healthy for March. The other thing is though, games like that, like premier non-conference games, they can make a difference in a full seed line in March, and so. That could be the difference in you being a 1 seed or a 2 seed, a 2 seed or a 3 seed, a 3 seed or a 4 seed. And if Tennessee, the past 2 seasons, there were 2 teams 2 seasons ago that Tennessee could not beat. And unfortunately, one of them got paired with Tennessee in the bracket. So Tennessee didn't go to the Final Four because couldn't beat either UConn or Purdue and ran into Purdue in the Elite Eight. And then last season, I think Houston and Florida were probably the only 2 teams I don't think Tennessee could have beaten. Maybe Florida, but I didn't like those matchups for Tennessee, and we saw that later in the season, right? When Tennessee and Florida played in Nashville, Florida just got better, got hot at the right time, and then won a natty, and fairly so. And Tennessee got paired with Houston in the region, and so didn't get to go to the Final Four. So that's 2 years in a row where if you're just 1 seed line higher and you're not facing them, then you're probably, I think, getting to at least 1, if not 2 Final Fours. So it doesn't matter in terms of how important things are in March, and you don't want to risk it. But if you can go and you're not going to make it worse, it wouldn't be the worst idea to go. Now, the interesting thing, too, is with Bishop Boswell, that has apparently gotten, I don't want to say severe. It's not that at all, but it's gotten a little more significant. It started with a problem in his foot, and then it's kind of gone. It's traveled upward, and now he's got kind of a little hamstring problem again while he's fighting his way back. So that's gotten a little more complicated, but I think that's still not like you're not talking about a long-term absence, but it is a hamstring, and anytime a hamstring starts barking at you, you have to shut that thing down for a while, or else it's just going to stay there all season. So that is not as pressing for Tennessee because as good as Boswell is defensively, they got a lot of guys, and Amari Abram is playing very well right now, and so. And really, they can keep playing a lot of these bigs because the big-to-big passing on this team is so fun to watch. And I can't tell, Elijah, if it's because they've just got more big guys that they're playing or if it's that these big guys are better passers than average for big guys because you're seeing a lot of big-to-big dimes that are really fun right now.
And I like what you said that because even in the NBA, we're seeing guys that's centers, power forwards can – push the ball and move the ball around.
Yes.
You've seen it with Jokic a lot with Denver, and now you're seeing it here. What this is just telling me that there's unselfishness because they're finding guys, and they're not just passing to them, they're alley-ooping to these big guys. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm happy to see that there's unselfishness. It could be an anybody night. Like you talked about Akpara when JP comes back. Like it's gonna be something where you like, okay, Tennessee's bigs. As much as we talk about Nate Ament, Tennessee's bigs is going to be a problem as well. And I think that, with the unselfishness of this offense and some tough defense that's coached by Coach Barnes, I think Tennessee could make a run off of this because basketball to me is just efficiency. And if you can get to the spots at a high level, I think you can win it all.
And I think it's so funny, and I'm, you said it correctly, but talking about Nate Ament, like not including him in with the big men, it's kind of funny because, kid's 6'11", right?
Yeah.
But it's just he's a wing. It's what he is. But he can play the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, I don't think you want him to, but if you're playing a small ball team or you're, chasing a game late and you need a lot of stuff out there, you can throw him at the 5. He's 6'10", 6'11". He can space the floor and try to go in there and rebound, and he can do that stuff, obviously. So now usually when he's rebounding, he's going up against another wing, so – that's advantage Nate Ament every time
right.
because none of them are as long as he is, and usually not as athletic and smooth. A little bit different when you're trying to box out a guy who's 260, 270. I mean, you see the way, like when Jalen Carey leans on people, how problematic that is for them because he just moves guys.
Yes.
And, man, it's so frustrating. He last night was playing so well offensively. He was creating for others. He had like 4 dimes, I think, when he was in there. He had some rebounds. He was scoring the ball. But he just kept fouling people. And so he only got to play like 13 or 14 minutes. And Rick Barnes, after the game, he said a lot of things. And I think we're going to hear from Rick here in a minute, Tom. Do we get that? Are we squared away there?
We do have the video. You'll see there's a time stamp on it, but just don't pay attention to that.
Don't pay attention to it? No big deal. No big deal. We'll play this in just a minute, but it was not included in the part we're going to show of Barnes, but after the clip that we show, he basically said it's a shame Jalen was being lazy on defense because he was doing a lot of good things when he was out there, but he was being lazy on defense and reaching when he shouldn't and got fouls and just trying to go through people, and so they couldn't play him as much as they wanted to. So, that's a little frustrating. And I think with a deep team, typically speaking, you have more allowance for guys getting in foul trouble, but Nate Ament's getting in too much foul trouble, and he's committing too many fouls that he shouldn't. And I keep saying this, and I probably sound like a Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm saying is they need to nip that in the bud because that is going to cost Tennessee in a big game this season if he keeps, putting 2 hands on guys on the perimeter, kind of reaching in when you're in space, right? You can't try to reach in when you're out in space. The official's going to see that every time. And you can't put 2 hands on the perimeter, the whistle's going every time.
That's the thing what Rick Barnes was saying. I mean, because he's so used to guarding, like we talked about, 4s and 5s and some odd of 3s. But on a college level, he's going to have to move his feet a little bit more. And that's what these games are for. These games are for you to learn and see what these athletes are going to look like as he go into SEC play. And next week, like I said, we all know when they go to play Houston and Vegas, he's going to see these guys again. So he's going to have to learn to move his feet, how to use his length, how to use his speed, his lateral quickness, and in a way where he's going to have to be a better defender than what we may think if Tennessee wants to go how far they want to go. So, again, it's going to come with foul trouble. I mean, it's frustrating, but you can see it's going to happen because this is new to him. It's like telling a newborn to walk. Like he's a baby.
Or trying to tell a toddler to do anything.
Yes, so I mean, it's going to be tough.
Literally anything.
Yeah, so it's like he's gonna figure it out, and I think it's going to take. It's going to take to SEC play for him to figure it out. I don't think he's going to know that fast just yet.
Yeah, they do a lot of things. I think the way you put it there, I like that. It's Rick Barnes says the same thing with a different language. He always says, "Get to your spots, get to your spots," and people like you watch offensively, Jacoby Gillespie. That's a guy who gets to his spots. He knows where to be on the floor. And that's not just like running the play. That's scanning the field, scanning the court, looking up, going where the space is, knowing where you can attack, knowing where, okay, this guy's going to go here, so I'm going to go here, anticipating. And the way that he's got this skill that you see in the college level, you usually see it more so from older guards. In the NBA, pretty much everybody does it. But the way, how quickly he can get into that old school kind of triple threat position when he catches the ball, he can pull up on a dime, and that you give him a foot, he's going to put a jumper right between your eyeballs. That's what he's going to do. And he gets up and rises and fires very quickly, and he gets into that spot as soon as he catches the ball, rhythmically. He just kind of gets into that position where it's like, I can pass it, I can shoot it, I can take you off the bounce. And he does that pretty much every single time he catches the ball. And that's when you can anticipate things. I mean, in the history of sports, and definitely the history of basketball, if you can get to your spots, you can do a lot of things. It offsets a lot of things. Like if you go back and watch film, like Larry Bird was never one of the most. He was almost always the least athletic dude on the floor. Right. It seemed like he was slowest, didn't have a lot of lift, but he just knew where to be, and he knew he was one or two steps ahead of you, and that kind of not everybody can read the game the way he could. Right. I mean, he's Larry Legend, but when you see older guys, that's the value of older guys in college basketball. Is they can see things. They know when possessions are breaking down, how to reset with 5 or 6 seconds on the clock and not be panicked. And they're not panicked. And they can reset, take a deep breath, and they still know they have time to drive, draw, dish, and make a play.
And I'm happy you say that, Wes, because, to the naked eye, we look at basketball as just putting the ball through the hoop. It's like 4 or 5 things that got to happen before this guy get freed up. The screen has to be on the right, the backdoor cut, or whatever.
And set, or it's a foul.
Yeah, like we just look at it and be like, oh, he sucks because he missed a shot, or he just shot over it. No, a lot of things have to go right for you, and you only got 24 seconds to make this happen. Really, when you get past half court, really about 18 to 20. So,
and one of my favorite things, if you go file this under things that once you see them, you never unsee them. The way Rick Barnes point guards get the ball, unless it's a transition where they just go, if you look at where the guys line up on free throws on the sides, on the lanes, they go right down that line like an arrow, because they're coached to do that, and if they don't do that, they're not going to play.
Right.
Because that's those specific spots help determine the spacing in Tennessee's half-court offense, and it just, even if you're doing a secondary break, it puts defenders in a really difficult position, because you can kick out here for a 3, you can kick out here for a 3. You kind of have to commit, and you're either going straight down for a layup, or if they don't stop the ball, and if they do, you're far enough away where you can kick to the guy here or the trailer, or if you go toward the rim and someone's blocking it, you can hit back to the trailing 4 or 5 for a 3 from the top of the key.
Exactly.
And all this stuff is based off of you going down the court exactly there. Because if you don't, the other people are racing to a spot. Like they're not just going there. They're going there with a purpose. Like they're going, I'm not just running as fast as I can here. I'm running as fast as I can to this spot right there. Because that's where the point guard's going to throw the ball. And if I'm not there, I'm going to make my point guard look like an idiot. And I'm going to get pulled from the game. Even though people are like, what's the point guard's fault? Or that guy threw the bad pass. It's like, no, he's supposed to be in that spot. Like when the quarterback in football, sometimes he throws an interception and you go, why is he throwing there? Because the receiver should have been there. And so that's why all of these things matter. But what's interesting, and you'll see this video here in just a second, is that we've talked about a lot of the good things Tennessee's done.
Right.
And Tennessee was up 29-6 in that game, got up to 35, 36, wherever the lead got to, before a couple buckets late from Tennessee State. And for the most part, I thought looked okay. Not perfect, but okay. And you just knew, though, the end of the first half was sloppy enough and the second half was just sloppy enough that you just knew Rick Barnes was not going to be happy. It's one of those games where you win by 30 points, but you're really unhappy with, which is like Rick Barnes' favorite spot. Like you win a game comfortably, but you see enough problems where you can still yell and you can still get after him and you can still send a message. And you can tell last night, we're going to go ahead and play this now. This is Rick Barnes last night. And you can see, tell me if this sounds like a happy coach or not. Tell me.
Coach, just the first 8-10 minutes, is that as good as you can look on both ends?
Yeah, even though, Rob, again, looking at it, I obviously get a chance to glance at it at halftime. Even though we were making shots, some of the details that we talked about wasn't as crisp as we wanted to. But defensively we came out and did a lot of good things, but then I thought we just got really sloppy, careless with the ball. But a lot of room for improvement for us, I can tell you that.
Is the rate that you guys have turned the ball over at through 5 games concerning to you?
Yeah, very. That's been our whole deal. We talk about possessions. You score 89 points and you turn it over 17 times. And it's the way we turn it over. Again, not to take anything away from Tennessee State, because I think that they're well coached. They play their style. They can get you maybe going a certain way, but it wasn't that. It's just turnovers that we absolutely shouldn't have. And it is a concern. Because we're not going to win the way we want to win if we keep turning the ball over that many times.
How encouraging was it to get the news back on JP that it wasn't a season-ending injury? And do you have a timeline where you'd hope to have him back?
I don't know. When I asked Chad about it the other day, he said a bone bruise could be anywhere a couple of weeks, whatever a couple is, somewhere there. But I think it'll be based on him and his comfort level and when he feels he's ready to go.
Coach, what did you see as far as the front court and their ability to pass to one another, in the paint, and what that looked like?
Well, again, we feel like we've got guys in there that can see each other. They play with each other. And, again, I think that they need some more opportunities, to be honest with you. I think that would take care of some of the turnover problem if we move the ball a little bit more and let those guys get involved, because they do a great job seeing each other. But they'll connect it and keep it going. And again, we can, and I think we will continue to get better there.
Coach, you mentioned the way that you turn it over is what's most concerning to you. What are you finding when you guys go back and watch the film that's leading to most of those turnovers?
Well, we have a pretty good feel for the team we're playing and know how certain teams are going to swipe and come challenge. People know that we like to get out and run, so you get a rebound, people can take the attitude that we're going to get everybody back, or we're going to try to jam the rebounder and try to swipe to slow it down that way. And guys getting rebounds like Nate had at one time where he just put it down by his leg. And that's something we talked about with this group. And anytime you play a team that's got sometimes 4 guards out there, you got to know they're going to have to take those chances to do that. And then the Felix's first roll that we had. He threw it right into a defender putting his hand up, and again, give the defender credit. He did exactly what he should do in that tag position, but you can't. He just threw it right to his arms. It's those plays, and that's making. Again, that would be in the right read, but he's got to get the ball up, and he's got to get it over his head quicker than the guy can get his arms up, and it's those detailed things like that we've got to get better with.
Did that sound like a happy coach to you? No, I love it.
A little morose.
I love it.
That's a good word.
With a game, when they get a blowout win, and Uncle Rick still comes out being just fire and brimstone from the Reverend. It makes me laugh every time, because I'm like, I know that, like, if you could have 35 things that were good and like 3 or 4 that weren't very good, those 3 or 4 are what he's going to talk about. And in fairness, Elijah, that is going to matter a lot more going forward, because the ramping up part of the schedule is gone. Like, now you're playing Rutgers, which is okay. It's a step up, but it's not what they kind of were last season with Bailey and all those guys. I don't think they're quite that right now. And then the next day, Houston, which is ranked number 2 nationally right now and is getting a lot of votes, a lot of first-place votes. So, and we know the caliber of that program and Kelvin Sampson, and he and Rick are very close and do a lot of the same things. Like, they still do a lot of those rebounding drills, the old school ones, the real physical ones that a lot of the new school coaches don't do.
Yeah.
They do those board drills where it's just those bubble drills that are just miserable, and players hate them. But that's why they usually rebound the way they do, is because they do those every day. And right now, Tennessee's got enough bodies, even with 2 guys out, they can still do those drills every single day. And so, yeah, you got that, and then you're going after those 2 games. You got another one either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how the first 2 days go. You'll have one of those days in Las Vegas to wrap that up, and then you've got Syracuse at Syracuse, which you go to the Carrier Dome, you're always going to get a fight up there, and then after that you got Illinois in Nashville, and Illinois is a top 10 team right now, so. Or at least was as of last week. I haven't seen the updated rankings, but they're a good team and really well coached and always good. So
Indiana coming up.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff coming up that's that are big games, and then SEC plays just right around the corner too. So the ramp up portion, like the play dates are done. Like this is going to get more physical and tougher now.
Yeah, and that's why I like what Rick Barnes does. I mean, he stays hard and coach those guys hard on those guys, because it's like, think about it, like when it's time to play these actual really, really good teams, it's no disrespect to Tennessee State and Mercer and stuff like that, but you got to play your best ball night in and night out. In the SEC, Florida is a good team. Kentucky is a good team. Alabama's not a team to sleep
Kentucky's
on.
a $22 million roster, so they ought to be good.
Yeah, so you're not going to sleep on Alabama. Auburn's always in the mix. So it's like, think about it for a second. Like, we need to be playing our best ball, and I want to make sure that we don't get lenient against these exhibition match games, kind of, sort of. So that's what I like about Coach Barnes, and I like that, you know, he points out the obvious. It's the turnovers. The turnovers will probably hurt him again.
Turnovers.
And that's what really, to be honest with you, that's what hurt him against Duke. So, and you know, and I think Duke is going to be a top 8 to 4 to maybe a national championship team, no matter depending on how things play out for them. So
Boozer's real, man. That dude is real, and they got some other big guys too.
So again, he's trying to make sure he coaches the little things now in these exhibitions, and that's what I would respect about him. And you got to tip your hat off to it. I know a lot of people are like, well, you won by 30. Well, you could also lose by 30 if you don't get those little things right. So you got to pick what you want and make sure you execute.
Yeah, what's that old saying? The standard is the standard, right?
Right.
The standard is the standard. And I think Tennessee, I want to look this up to be sure here as I'm poking around here on the iPad. I think Tennessee had, 17 turnovers last night, which, again, is just – that's too many. That's too many. And in a night where they shot the ball fairly well, they tapered off a little bit in the second half, so they ended up about 33% from three, which you want to be a little better. In the first half, they were much better. Shot about 44% from the field, rebounding okay, 20 assists on 25 buckets, really like that number. Got 12 steals, forced a lot of turnovers, forced more than they made, and had more assists and turnovers. So those things are positives, but again, I'm trying to pull up the numbers here on their turnover numbers per game. It's not great. It's much closer to 20 than you want it to be. So, and it's not like, for instance, when you look at the Lady Vols, their turnover numbers are a little different because the pace they play at. It's like Heupel's offense in football. It makes more plays in a game, so it can skew the numbers. So you have to look more at like efficiency numbers and things like that to get a better read on it. So it's not apples to apples there, but it's too many turnovers, and it's something that they got to get cleaned up. And speaking of turnovers, if Tennessee football turns the ball over in Gainesville tomorrow night, it's going to leave with another loss to Florida. And I think you went on record earlier this week. You said Tennessee wins the game, didn't you? I'm still the only one. I'm with Andy Sandberg here on the Lonely Island. I'm the only one so far saying Florida's going to win this game.
Well, then you're a lone wolf, so go ahead. You can howl like a wolf, man. You're a lone wolf. Ooh. Wes is by himself. I got Tennessee.
It's a lonely island. I'm on a boat. Just me. And it's me and T-Pain.
I got Tennessee by 10. I got it by healthy margin.
By 10.
By 10. Healthy margin. Like it's gonna be so healthy. It's gonna like my plate on Thanksgiving. What I can't wait to wrap around.
10.
It's
freaking 10.
It's
a
gonna
10.
it's gonna look good. Tennessee by 10. 10 at 3 Wes Rucker. That's why it's going by 10.
There you go.
So they're gonna win by 10. I think defensively for Tennessee, you want to finish on a high note. I think this is the way you do it. You dominate. I mean, everybody knows you're going to dominate New Mexico State, but now dominate Florida. And that's what my challenge is right now. Can you dominate Florida? Can you make sure that you look as good as you looked the previous week to keep this thing rolling? We all talked about it. Hobbs is back. So can Hobbs continue to make plays? We all know that the corners are, is what right now with Redmond looking like he's coming into his own.
Mm-hmm. Looking
Let's
good.
see if he can do his thing back there again, So it's like, and I'm not sure if Arion Carter's going to play tomorrow, but we talked about a lot about these other linebackers that's filling in the role with T-Lander. You got Spillman. You got so many guys that's coming in and doing really, really well. Pilati. Can we keep this thing rolling? That's the only thing that you need to worry about on defense. And I think that, tomorrow it can show.
I want to say this correctly, but I don't think Arion Carter's been on the availability report at all this week. So maybe little more extra time off his foot for him, and Josh Josephs and a couple other guys that have been playing through some stuff.
Right.
Maybe they're healthier tomorrow. And my issue is Florida has had one game this season, Kentucky, where things just went off the rails and it was bad. That game was at 38-7, whatever it was. It was gross. Other than that, Florida has played the toughest schedule that I have ever seen in college football that I can remember.
I agree with
And
you.
I know those are heavy words, but go seriously look at that schedule. It's one of the most ridiculously tough I have ever seen. And I have never, ever, ever seen a 3-7 football team with as much talent as this Florida football team has. So you look at these games. I mean, in Georgia, just one of the most recent games, right down to the wire, right? Could have won that game. Ole Miss last week in Oxford could have won that game. They keep getting back on the horse impressively, I think, for a team that is not. It's been losing a lot, for a team that's got an interim head coach, for a team that you have to wait and see when the new coach comes in, who wants to stay, who wants to go, what's the NIL situation going to look like, what's the portal going to do both ways. I mean, you've seen with Tennessee coaches changes in the past, 30, 40 guys or whatever were in the portal at one point before Heupel got the job, or when he got the job. So, yeah, despite all of that, that team keeps getting back on the horse Saturdays and gets ready to play. It's not executing as much as it needs to, but the talent is there. And despite having 12 guys listed as out, 5 more on the injury report, 17 whatever guys it is, that's a lot. They're banged up, and they have been all year. And so, but they keep kind of getting up and playing. And this is their first game in Gainesville in 4 or 5 weeks. And no matter what's going on with them, and it's been bad, real bad. For Florida, 3-7, that's a 5-alarm fire. It's a 10-alarm fire. Every alarm fire. And so you get all that, but they are back home, and they're ending the season. Since it won't be a bowl game this season, they're going to end the season playing Tennessee at home, Florida State at home. So if you're a Florida player, those are 2 games that I would think get your attention, because this is one of those ones, and the interim head coach, Billy Gonzalez, talked about it this week, that they're playing in meetings, and they're playing on a loop in the facilities when players are walking around, all the videos of all the players, the stars from both teams, and big moments in this series and how much this thing means. And so at the end of the day, it's a 7:30 p.m. Eastern game in the Swamp, and Florida and its fans, at least going into that game, will toss everything out the window for a few minutes and get on the same page and get ready to go make noise and make life hard for Tennessee. If Tennessee, and this is, I don't want to say this is the only way I think Tennessee wins, but it's by far the most likely, in my opinion, ways that Tennessee could win this game. A fast start. If Tennessee gets out to a fast start, then you wonder if Florida's going to keep playing as hard. Then you wonder if the Swamp is going to make noise even at night. If you can take the steam out of that game early, if you can deflate the crowd, hit a couple big plays early, I'm sure they've got some good stuff schemed up. They usually do early in games.
Right.
Hit Brazel downfield, hit Staley over the middle on a seam where you've cleared out the field and you get him one-on-one with somebody. Mike Matthews, we know how electric he is in the open field. Hit something there, or Ethan Davis even, hit something there. Hit a couple big plays early, then I think it could turn into a somewhat comfortable game for Tennessee. That's the only way, though, that I see it being anything other than a close game. And if it's a close game, I'm looking historically, Tennessee on the road against rivals, close games. In the Heupel era, that's one thing they haven't really done well yet. They just haven't. And so if it's a close game, I think Florida wins it. But if Tennessee can get up, then I think it could start scoring and make them uncomfortable. But that's just, we do all this game theory in our head, right, about what it's going to look like.
Right.
And then the ball gets kicked off and all hell breaks loose and you never know what's going on. But that's how I'm looking at it, basically.
Yeah. I like I said, I think that, like you said, they jump out to a big lead. But like I said, it's going to be defense, man. I think defense is going to be the one be the determining factor of this one. We all know Tennessee's offense can put up points and put up a lot of yards, but I think defensively is where you're going to start to lean on, because I got to start building foundation in that room because if I'm Josh Heupel, I mean, college football playoff isn't set in stone yet, but you know that
You're probably not in it.
you're not in it, probably. And you want to start rally up the troops for next year and start building up confidence for your defense, because some of those guys, or most of these guys, can be back. And if they're back and they see how they're playing last year, and then you add some pieces, which I got some dark horses where I think they got to add next year offensively, I think you're putting yourself in a really good shape to head into this 2026 season. And I think but it has to start on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and it's my concern there is DJ Lagway on third downs.
Right.
Is that I see this scenario in my head. It keeps playing kind of on a loop where it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Florida spreads the field. Tennessee either comes after Lagway and doesn't get to him, or drops 7 back into coverage and tries to get there with 4 or 5. And even though it's covered up initially, he gets out of the pocket. He runs 10, 11, 12, 13 yards, slides or goes out of bounds, and the chains move. I just keep seeing that over and over in my head. And that is something that for a while there, like last season when Tennessee – last season for a lot of the season was the first time in a while that Tennessee had finally hemmed up that stuff. Because that had been killing Tennessee for years. For years. And it is the most deflating thing for a defense. It's not like, offense throws a pick 6 and it's like a decapitation strike, kind of like one of those moments. But it's just like little paper cuts. And they just, eventually you bleed out. And that's what happens. And so it's like in boxing, right? You take body blows and they soften you up. And then the uppercut comes and knocks you out. And it just, every time you do that, every time you allow those 3rd and medium or 3rd and long conversions, especially when you have a chance to get to the quarterback and you don't, or you just let him leak out of the pocket. And Lagway is talented enough to do that. And Lagway is also talented enough to buy time with those legs and then chuck the ball downfield on a dime where it needs to be. Now, he's inconsistent. But last season against Tennessee, that joker was good. That, like Lagway last season against Tennessee, for parts of that second half, you were like, oh, okay, this is the DJ Lagway Florida thought it was going to have. And he made a couple throws in that game. You go back and watch one of those touchdown passes he threw it in absolutely the only place it could be thrown. With the perfect weight on it, drops right in the bucket, in the middle of defenders. And if it's a foot either way, it's not working. But he just drops it perfectly in there. Tennessee's going to get – Florida plays a good defense, but Tennessee's going to make some big plays. That's just what Tennessee does in every game. Every game, basically. But my 2 big concerns, or 3 big concerns. One, the one I just mentioned. Don't let Lagway get out of the pocket on 3rd down. Don't let Florida beat you on after you've initially stopped them on a 3rd down. Don't let the second action of a play beat you. Right. Don't let that happen. Number 2, turnovers. Just, listen, Joey Aguilar is going to Joey Aguilar. He's gonna have a couple of throws that you go no, and you hope they turn into no, yes, or no, whew, that could have been bad, no, whew, one of those, and so you just have to hope that they turn into that, because he's gonna do that. He just is. He's gonna throw a lot of dots and make a lot of nice plays, and then he's gonna have a couple of throws where you're like, oh no, don't do that. And then my 3rd thing, as always, when Tennessee goes on the road especially, penalties. Holding calls and things, look, those they're going to happen and they're random and they get called or they don't, right? There's holding on every play. Sometimes it gets called, sometimes it doesn't. Just don't make it obvious and then take your chances, right? But the procedure penalties, like not having somebody covered up in the slot or covering somebody up in the slot, not having everybody quiet on the line of scrimmage, moving early. the way Tennessee plays at that tempo, you're going to have more penalties than most teams. And that's okay because it's baked into the sauce because you don't condone it, but you understand it, right?
Yeah.
You understand it. The problem is, even within that, there's a threshold. And Tennessee keeps going over that threshold. And that just loses games. You cannot consistently be in 1st and 15, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 9. You can't do it. You can't. And 1st and 20s, you just can't have it. Just can't have it. They've got to get procedurally where they need to be. And they just don't do that well on the road, especially. They just don't. And that's got to change.
I think this is a grow-up game. I mean, we talked about the young guys not being young no more since the offseason. This year right here has to be a grow-up game, and this is for these guys to grow up and minimize the minor penalties and play their best ball. But if I'm Josh Heupel, like any away game, you want to go in there. You want to take the air out the crowd early.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go out there and
suck the air out of the building.
Yep. You want to hear a pin drop if you can at the end of the first quarter. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but you want to make sure that happens because you give a team like Florida any type of hope at home,
early especially,
and they didn't play there for 3 weeks. And then you're Tennessee, one of their rivals that come in there, and you didn't beat us in 2003. We want to keep it that way. And you didn't beat us in Gainesville since 2003. We have to find a way to keep it this way. So if you want to just attack early and often, you want to play your best ball early and often. I mean, I'm not going to – I got a bold prediction. I don't think Joey Aguilar turns over the ball tomorrow.
Whoa.
I don't think.
Okay, I know you're not normally a caffeine guy. Did you go straight to liquor this morning? Like what's going on there?
Yeah.
I gotta know what's been in that cup. I gotta know.
Bourbon with ice, baby. No,
I mean that's mine. That's bourbon, but that's just a daily thing. I mean that's this is what this is every day. Why do you think I conceal it in this cup? But I just that's.
Is my bold prediction. He doesn't turn over the football tomorrow. I think Tennessee wins in double-digit form. I think they get out of there.
I like it. Hey, go ahead. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
I'm not saying that. I just think that this group here shown that it's more mature throughout the season of how to handle games like this. I think Oklahoma they lost. They lost Oklahoma. Bama Bama was my worst loss that I see Tennessee. Georgia, they played well. Oklahoma, I felt like it wasn't complimentary, but I think here on out, I think we're going to see some complimentary football.
A lot of people are sitting here right now, because it's Friday, nobody's working right now. If it's Friday 3 to 4, you're not working. Be honest, the Eastern Time Zone, you're done.
I mean,
for the
I'm
day.
not working.
Yeah, you're. None of us are. We're done. You're done for the day.
Tell them, Tom. That means you got bourbon with ice too.
I don't have a drink over here. Actually, I'm a little high and dry. He pre-games hard before he goes in.
He comes in here, he pre-games.
But it's like I think a lot of people would like that to happen. I'm not saying I'd be surprised, but New Mexico State, they did come out there, and for the most part, they took care of business maturely. I don't, as long as Heupel's been in Tennessee, so far as I can tell, he has never just had a team completely not ready to play. Right. Now, the issues have been on the road. At times, things fall apart and come unraveled during the game, and then they don't respond well to that, right? Or they keep punching, and eventually the other team starts punching, and then they're done. And so that's been an issue. But I don't remember a game where you just go into it in the first quarter and you're like, man, these guys are just – that's never happened. That's never happened. And so I think there is a maturity in that sense with this team and with this program. I do think that. My problem is finding ways to kind of re-seize the initiative when it's taken from you, because you are going to get hit on the road. You are going to get noise on the road. You are going to have moments that go against you. It's baked into this cake. It's there every time. It's always there, right? You can't not have that on the road. And you have to know that's coming, and you have to have a stiff upper lip when it does. You have to hit back when it does, and that has been the issue. Now, it's not easy, and nobody said it's easy. It's not supposed to be easy. You go on the road with 90 to 100,000 people, 80% of which, at least probably, are very hostile towards you, and they're making noise and they're yelling and they get their stuff going and their crowd. Like, it's hard, man. It's hard because it feels like it's not 11 on 11 at that point. It feels like 11 on a million. But that's good teams go take care of that. And that's what Tennessee's got to go do. Because until this season, Tennessee had taken back Neyland. That was a huge part of the process. They had now that Oklahoma game was a fly in the ointment there with that. That was the old cow pie in the punch bowl. That can't happen. Georgia, that shouldn't have happened, but Georgia's been the one team you've not beaten at home. So okay.
Or ever.
Okay. But that Oklahoma game kind of changed that a little bit. But now the next step is go do that. Since Heupel's been there, no wins in Athens, no wins in Tuscaloosa, no wins in Gainesville. This is your last chance this season to change that.
But that's where I think that things will change, because I feel like you hear that all week, and then it's two reasons. One, you hear that all week. You haven't beat them since 2003.
Oh yeah, everybody know now.
So it's like, Heupel doesn't win on the road. You added more fuel to the fire of them saying, for them not to give up on the season.
Yeah, are you competitive or not? What it comes down to.
Right. So now I'm
you
like,
got pride.
Let me go down there. Let me just handle, because I think they're Florida and Tennessee's on two different. I think Florida is more like they're looking like they're giving up, where Tennessee, that was my big thing last week against New Mexico State. I know Florida played Ole Miss hard. I know they played.
They've been right there. Georgia,
all
those games. LSU,
decent.
all those games. They've been right
but
there.
But I just feel like those games were in close, but I just feel like they didn't finish them because I feel like it's just. It's not talent. We all know
they
it's
don't
not
have
talent.
it. Whatever it is, they ain't got it. Now
what,
they did beat Texas, but
Texas.
Texas has been kind of Jekyll and Hyde again. But it's
with Tennessee, when I seen against New Mexico State, they didn't give up. It wasn't a pad statting game. It wasn't somewhere where it was like, oh, we're not going to make the college football playoff, win or lose or anything like that. Like, yes, one of the interceptions that Joey Aguilar threw was ugly, but that was Joey. That's not what he hasn't done before.
It was so ugly that even its mama doesn't love it. Like, that's how ugly
it
was.
It was ugly, but at the same time, this group showed that they didn't give up. They didn't personally. Josh Heupel was calling timeouts defensively to counter whatever New Mexico State wanted to do, because he didn't want to give up a touchdown. That showed me right there, okay, you still have some type of competitive edge to the season.
You want to cover at least.
Yeah, you want to cover the spread. I'm like, well, I seen that. I was like, you know what? That's telling me right there that he still has that competitive edge of him wanting to make sure this team plays as best as they can no matter what happens at the end of the year. And that tells me to something with Florida. I think that they can handle this Florida team, especially on the road, because I think that if it's not one group that's more motivated than the other, I think it's the Volunteers right now, especially with everything that's been said throughout the entire week.
And I think if they start fast, that will happen. If they don't start fast,
right,
then you can get up a creek in a hurry. And that's the concern. That, what's wild is there are people in this building right now, who in their lifetimes, Tennessee's never won down there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Think about that. There are people in this building right now who, in their lives, and just yesterday, when Emily was with us yesterday, she was 2.
Yeah, I'm like.
She was 2 last time Tennessee won down there. And you know what? I covered the game, so how freaking old am I? I was young then, but still, I covered that game. That's how old I am. I covered that game. I am a dinosaur right now. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I was 8.
There you go. See? And that's a long time. Like, that's the in the amount of time that Tennessee has not won in Gainesville, that amount of time could buy a beer right now.
That's wild.
Think about that.
Like, I don't even know what I was doing at 8 years old.
Probably, I would say you weren't getting in trouble probably too much, where you probably behaved for the most part as a kid, right?
I don't know, Wes. I'll tell you, I don't know. I started a lot of stuff,
but mischievous, right? Like just little.
Oh yeah, kid stuff.
Like little kid stuff, right?
Oh, for sure.
You're not out there like Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, or San Andreas, right? I mean, you're just out there being a kid. walking around the streets of New Haven, eating pizza and committing crimes.
I did walk out the house. I don't know if I can tell this on the podcast. I don't know anyway. I walked out the house, and they were looking for me for a little minute. I was walking down the street. A guy saw me and knew what house I lived at and was like, "Hey, this your baby," and brought me back. Was I 8 at that time? No. I probably knew how to get back home. But, yeah, I walked out the house.
If you didn't know how to get back home at 8,
yeah,
it's... I mean, you're 8. Like, at that point, you ought to be like, yeah, I turn left here. You know?
Yeah, get back.
I mean, probably.
8 years old. But I don't even know what I was doing.
Of course, let's say that as the guy who still occasionally, if I'm not paying attention, I will drive past the exit to my house and just, if let's say like the November Rain guitar solo is going on or something, like I'm just fired up. I will occasionally just be sitting there and I'm like, oh, that was my exit back there. And that's just going home. Now going home from here, I just go down a mile. That's easy. But so, I mean, it happens.
What grade are you in at typically 8 years old? Second grade? Third grade?
Second grade, third grade. No, Tom was holding at 5 minutes, not fifth grade. If you're in fifth grade,
fifth grade at 8,
you're freaking smart. You're Doogie Howser.
Whoa.
You're gonna like.
That's also another reference. It's probably not going to be picked up by people who don't remember the last time.
No, people don't know what Doogie Howser is anymore. Seriously.
I mean, how old is that show? That was a early '90s show, was that not?
I think so.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Neil Patrick Harris was a kid back then, actual kid. That's
old.
The whole point of the show.
Can I ask you this? I know we're a week ahead of this, but I know we had a potluck here today.
And I didn't get anything because I was preparing for this show hard. By the way,
there are tons of.
Let's go grab some stuff after this.
Because I smelled that honey baked ham and I was like,
"They have ham."
I heard earlier. I detected an unmistakable smell of honey baked ham.
There was definitely ham.
Wow.
It was like, I know that smell anywhere. I was like, I went up to the third floor earlier to get ice because that's where the ice machine is because I haven't the revolution that I've started to get an ice machine on this floor. It's in its infancy, so we've not gotten there yet. But
we'll take a lunch break together, Wes.
Yeah. So,
but I want to know if Thanksgiving, what are your 5 things that has to be on your plate? If you need 5, I'm not gonna lie to you. I could probably go more, but
I could. I mean, there's almost nothing that I don't put on that plate. Sweet potatoes are number 1 for me. Sweet potato casserole, sweet potato pie, all of it. Like, it's sweet potatoes everything. I put it on the turkey. I put it on the ham. I sweet potatoes, corn pudding for me. Always
I'm also
up there.
A corn pudding guy. Yeah, it's got to be corn pudding.
Big corn pudding guy up there. And then probably the mac and cheese, especially if my brother-in-law's making it. It's really good.
What kind of mac and cheese are we talking here? Are we talking the stuff with the breading on it, or
like a little bit of crunch.
Breadcrumbs?
Just a tiny bit of crunch in it. Just a tiny bit.
We had this argument a long time ago.
Yeah,
in the newsroom.
and it's like the way
the sides are set in this.
Yeah, it's like.
Well, I'm set on the non-bread.
I am also on non-breadcrumb side. I'm on just as much cheese as you can possibly.
But that's what I like the cheese.
I'm talking about just a little bit, just a little bit, just for texture,
please.
And then green bean casserole's up there for me too, probably. Or squash casserole, either one.
Okay.
And then, boy, it's tough. I mean, my dad's stuffing probably that rounds out the 5. my dad. I don't have the I don't have the recipe yet from him. He makes it every year, and I'm like, Dad, listen, I want you to live another 100 years.
Right.
But let's be honest here, you're pretty old. At some point, you can't leave this earth without
passing down the recipe.
I have to know how to do this, because at some point, like, you have to think about your family, sir. You just have to do that.
All right. I'll take that.
You got a 5? What's your 5?
Macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go sweet potato pie, always number 2.
That's my number 1, but yeah.
And then I'm gonna go yams, if that's in the sweet potato pie category. I'm gonna go mashed potatoes.
You're going starchy.
Oh yeah. I don't. Who goes asparagus and broccoli on Thanksgiving?
What about green bean casserole?
No.
No.
I didn't even heard of corn pudding until you said that.
Corn pudding's that's a thing.
You're not a corn pudding guy? Oh gosh.
Corn pudding's a thing.
Oh.
It's good.
Oh man.
I don't even know what that is.
It's super thick cream corn, basically, with texture, and it's really, really. That's the simplest way to put it, and it's magnificent.
I'm gonna go ham.
Sweet or sweet or salt? Sweet.
Oh, sweet. Right. I love it sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know.
Not so easy when you're on the spot.
No, it's the last one, Tom. I don't want to.
You only got 1 minute, so.
I'm just gonna.
Dun 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 dun. Who wants to be a millionaire?
I'm gonna
there's
go.
so much to go
I'm gonna
choose
have to go with probably another dessert. I'm gonna have to go with
I don't include desserts in there. That would be a separate 5.
Oh, that's separate 5.
Number one.
Same side of pie is a dessert, right?
I put. It's both. It's functional. It can go either way. But yeah, it would be. Yeah, pecan pie for me, number 1.
You like pecan? You almost got me to say that word. You like pecan pie?
Love it. Number 1 for me.
I'm a fan of all pies, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I make
No, you don't like blueberry.
Oh, you're right. I don't like blueberry.
Oh,
pie.
I knew. I was
You're
saying
correct.
whoever
But
likes
who's
blueberry
serving
pie.
blueberry pie
Oh,
on
I do.
Thanksgiving?
You like blueberry pie?
grow my own blueberries, man.
Whoa!
I grow my own blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries.
You like the first person I ever met that loves blueberry pie.
I like anything with blueberry in it.
I'll buy that as a joke.
Anything. A drink with blueberry in it. Oh, love it.
I'd rather eat key lime.
Okay,
Key lime's fine.
Do not. Nope.
You like key lime?
Key lime. Nope. We don't talk bad about key lime pie in this house.
I throw key lime pie in the trash.
Listen, he might be a Midwestern man, but he knows key lime pies.
I'm
all
a
right?
Southerner.
What do you Missouri's not.
I'm not going to go into my whole life history. I was in the dang military. I traveled all over the place.
Okay, that's fair. And again, thank you for your service, of course. But you talked about time in Missouri, and it's its own. It's not Southern. It's not Midwestern. It's Missouri. It's its own geographic
Missouri
entity.
these days would beg to differ that it's in the South, given the whole
Well, first of
being
all,
in the Southeastern Conference.
First of all, Louisiana will tell you that Tennessee is not the South.
Well, then Louisiana would be wrong. Kentucky's not the South, but Tennessee is. That's the border.
They say the South to Louisiana is.
It snows.
Alabama.
If it snows, it can't. If it snows, it can't be south.
Yeah, they said for some reason they thought South Carolina was South. Like, got South in its name.
Like we got elevation, man.
It's about as south as it gets, other than Florida and
I
Georgia.
was so confused. I was like, how do you put that together? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Dude, we're gonna have this conversation again next week because we have
Yeah.
to end this here, and I
gotta-
really want to have that conversation.
No.
We will no. This is going to be no. You know what? And we got to put because really quick tease before we get out of here. Next week we're going to put a couple of episodes in the can so we can have Thursdays and Fridays because I'd work, but I don't want everybody else having to do stuff. So we're going to put them in there. So we're going to do like a mailbag and maybe Thanksgiving thing too. We'll dress up festively. It's going to be a good time. A good time will be had by all. But for now, Elijah, my man, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, man.
And you know what, Tom, Justin, Shelby.
Woo!
Thank y'all for being here too. Give us
Always-
Shelby, come on,
always
turn
a
left.
pleasure.
Give us a
Always
thumbs
a
up.
pleasure.
Thank you. Minimal effort there. That's all right. We'll take it. Guys, have a good weekend. We'll be back on Monday to talk a lot about Tennessee football, obviously leading off, and we'll see where things go from there. So we'll see you in about 23 hours and 2 days.